What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilkin. I'm coming back to you guys with another Danmachi video. Now, one of my most requested videos whenever we have Record Buster is to do a Record Buster video, and I always mean to bring these out on like the Saturday. But as life goes, as I am a parent, I am a father, and a homeowner and all that stuff, things happen. That's why we didn't have a stream Saturday night or Sunday night. So unfortunately, we are pretty late on this, but it got me thinking. Now, could we build a top 500 team? I'm not going to say out of scraps, but using a lot of the units that are kind of newer to the game. Case in point, this Ryu, fantastic unit for this task. In fact, realistically, if Bell and Ryu, if this unit right here were max limit broken, I would almost put, in fact, I would 100% put Ray on the back lot, but I'm going to bring Ryu in a little bit later in the match. You'll kind of understand why when we get to it, but before I do that, I kind of would have explained why I always go top 500. Now, it should be pretty obvious. I think that's a very attainable score for a lot of people. But here's the deal, guys. The number one reason I do that is because if I go over here to rewards, we go to the actual rank rewards, you know, top unit, top person is going to get 1,000 iris. Whatever. Yeah, you're going to do that. Okay? Next one down is top 50. So the top 50 people get 800 iris. Pretty sweet reward, right? It's a very small number of people in the US server who are going to get that. And if you actually go back and you look, let's go back out here, and we go to all players, right? Go through the top 50 list here. Notice how many people are using the new Kaguya. That's a lot of people. So it really feels like Dark is the most preferred team right now. Now, let's go back over here to Record Buster. The reason that I always go top 500, this is very, very, very important. I need people to pay really close attention to this, because I always seek heat on a lot of these things, because one of the things that I really like to do is position myself in a way that's going to help you guys that are free to play get the most out of your gameplay. Because let's face it, the whales, they're going to do what whales are going to do. And anymore, it's really easy to go in and just copy a team and then just go to town. But for those of you guys that are like me, that ran out of iris, that didn't go into Kaguya, that maybe did like the Hero Festa banner, and you have, you know, you've got that really nice win Ryu, you're like, what do I do now? I'm going to help you guys out. But number one, notice the disparity in the payout, okay? 800 for top 50. Top 500 is 700. That means if you were to get the extra 100 iris from this, you would have to wail on Kaguya and just bust your behind, and you would absolutely be down to the wire in most circumstances, just trying to keep up. This is pretty easy, and I'm going to show you how. So, let's go look at this team one more time. Okay, it's a pretty standard win team, right? I'm using all the normal assist units. I'm not really stretching here much. We are using the new Bell and Ryu unit. I really think this unit is, and I said it when it came out, I think this unit is fantastic. I don't know if they're actually in the general pool, and that actually becomes an interesting consideration here. So I've not used my Celestial Festival ticket yet, and it does not appear they're in the general pool. So not quite yet can you go in after them. Hopefully you guys at least pulled one or two. If you've got like a Prism Bond or something laying around, I think honestly at +2, this unit would easily be able to pull off a level 7 with basically what we've got built here. Just kind of follow along, or heck, maybe even a +1 with all 6 purple stars. That's actually a distinct possibility. I'd really like somebody, if somebody's out there and wants to try that, report back in the comments. That'd be great, because that would help a ton of players out. But let's just run through it here, and I'll kind of explain the team, how it works, and why we're doing what we're doing. Now, I do have a bit of a skill flow already built, but I'm going to deviate from that ever so slightly, and I'll explain why when we get there. But first, the main thing you want to know about Finn. Finn is going to remove everything. He is, at the end of turn 4 and the end of turn 8, he is going to remove everything. But before he does that, he's going to give us an amazing buff. So, follow along here. Number 1, Belle, and Belle and Ryu technically, but Belle I'm going to go ahead and just give skill 1, pretty straightforward. This Eyes, the Kid Eyes, got a really rock solid buff. So we're going to start off with her buff skill. Now, she buffs, she goes a 3-1-2 type of build. So she can do skill 3, then skill 1, then skill 2 is going to be her main spammable. It's a weird build, it really is, but it is what it is. This Line needs no introduction, she's just here for the SA gauge charging. And yeah, I hear you. Why are you SA gauge charging if everything's wiped out? Well, because Ray is fully capable of giving us that SA gauge charge that we're missing. So, with Line, we're going to do skill 2 for SA gauge charge. With Ray, I don't need to worry about her SA gauge charge, so we're going to do her skill 1 to debuff strength and magic, as well as get her extra actions out. So turn 1's pretty simple. Now, as far as armaments go, you want everybody to be in a fully max ascended Earth Coat, with the exception of Line, who just left, and in came Winnie. And Winnie, who's going to leave and bring in Ryu. Now, there is the temptation to use the OG Winnie, who gives you the 50% single target damage. But the reality is you're going to get her SA off, and then it's going to be wasted. It's better to use this Winnie, and I'll show you why. Okay? So, and a lot of people are actually using her on the Dark team just as a healer. It's really crazy. But her skill 2 comes in here. She'll give herself strength and water attack damage. She's pretty good in that regard. 30% HP regen for 4 turns. That's very nice. Physical resistance down. Redundant. We don't necessarily need it, but it'll be nice. And single target 30%. That's a lot of things she's doing that we now don't have to worry too much about. So things that Ryu's taking care of, which she drops in, or pretty much what I mean is like, I'll call it rotation 2, turns 5 through 8, and rotation 3, 9, and beyond. Winnie's going to take care of now, and then leave. So we don't have to worry about it. She's pretty much got it handled. Now, Belle's going to come over here, and he's going to do his skill 2. Now, notice that physical resistance and single target are kind of doing their thing. A lot like what she's doing. So it is this hair redundant, but that HP regen, that's what's going to come in clutch with her. Now, the honest question would become, can Belle just skip skill 2? And the honest answer is no. His strength, agility, and dex, we really need to buff those. So he's going to go skill 1, skill 2, and then move on from there. Now, remember I said that Eyes is a 3-1-2 build? Here we go. Skill 1. And now Ray is going to do her skill 2. We don't necessarily need this yet. It would be nice, but we already have an HP heal. We already have an HP regen in play. So I don't need it. When he's taking care of that on this turn. Now, there are other options you could do here, but the main thing is getting those heals out. Now, unfortunately, I still haven't adjusted my layout here, but Belle at +3 took about a quarter of his life in damage. So, you know, just consider that. Let's see if I can maybe adjust this. There's no way for me to adjust it, unfortunately. Just have to take my word for it. I wish you could see the health, but I gotta fix my layout so you can do that. So, turn 3, here comes Ryu. Now, this is the Hero Festa Ryu. This Ryu is nuts, and she is max limit broken. She is fully ascended. Believe me, she's great. As good as she is, Eyes is still her DPS. Check this out. So, number 1. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to go and just start doing all of our big single targets. So Belle, skill 3. Eyes skill 2. Skill 2 does something interesting. We'll get to that next turn. Okay? Ryu is going to do her skill 1 just to give herself a little bit of buff. And Ray's actually going to do skill 3. And that's going to give Eyes the 33% SAH charge. It really will only count next turn. But, you know, it is going to be helpful. Now, I will say this. As far as Belle's HP goes, you can kind of rate it somewhere between Eyes and Ray. They're going to do about the same. So if you want to see what Belle's HP is, the more I'm really looking at this, somewhere between Eyes and Ray, that's pretty much where he typically falls. So if you look at their HP scores, you can kind of tell what Belle's going to be doing. Now, something that's vitally important to recognize here, okay? Finn has buff strength and magic 150%, but everybody else has strength and magic 150%. So this is a great time to go in and just do single target attacks. So where normally we would buff Ryu a little bit more, no, we don't need it. Yeah, actually, it's kind of redundant. Everything's pretty much already there. The only thing that we would get is the magic resistance, and you know what? It ain't that important. It honestly ain't that important at this stage of the game. It will be later, but not right at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and do her big skill 3. Of course, Eyes is going to do her skill 2, but I'll get that in a minute. The spammable skill for Ray is also her skill 2, but it still ain't that great. But it is what it is. So just do her skill 2, get out what little damage she can get. Okay? Now, here's the super important part of this. Alright? When it comes to Eyes here. Eyes is going to use her skill 2, but notice what it does. Super Wind physical attack with temporary strength boost. Status buff down 2 turns and status debuff plus 2 turns. Okay? So she's going to remove some of those status buffs. Check this out. Strength and magic for 2 turns. That means that when Eyes hits that, that's gone. Those buffs are out of there. Those buffs are not an issue. So in this situation, we don't need to remove strength and magic buffs. We're just removing buffs altogether. And that's going to actually come and play a little bit later. So, that means if you really pay attention here to Finn's icons when you can finally see him again, which actually may not happen for a while. There we go. You got a glimpse of him there. The strength and magic buffs are gone. That means the big SA he's going to do now isn't going to hurt nearly as bad. If we did not remove those buffs, this would kill us. There's no two ways about it. This would be curtains if we don't remove those strength and magic buffs. Remember, it's 150%. That's significant. Significant. Believe me, they take like 6,000 to 7,000 if you don't remove that. So it's super important you recognize the difference. Now, so that is that, right? Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. Here's the deal, guys. Now, going into this rotation, we need to start planning out when we want to do our SAs. So, with Belle and Ryu, their extra action gives wind attack damage for 2 turns. That's a really important factor there. That's super important. So, we're going to kind of save that. But, let's continue on for now. I'm going to go ahead and do single target with, single target. I'm going to do skill 1 with Belle. We're not doing single targets yet. All buffs are gone, so we're going to rebuff. So, skill 1 with Belle, skill 3 with Eyes, skill 1 with Ryu, and skill 3 with Ray. Remember, we need that 33% SAH charge. That's going to be really important to our end game here. It does mean that Finn doesn't have the 40% debuff, but on this turn it's not super important, and we still have HP regen, so we'll be fine. Okay, turn 6, we're going to go skill 2 with Belle. Skill 1, remember, she's a 3-3-1-2 build. Skill 1 with Eyes. Skill 2 with Ryu. And skill 1, notice there, the build between Ray and Eyes is very similar. Skill 1 with Ray. Okay, let's go. Everything looks good. We got very little to worry about. All right. So, good stuff that. Turn 7. Now, we know on this turn that Finn is going to buff himself, but we want to make sure we do our big singles. So, skill 3, skill 2, skill 3, skill 2. Still pretty straightforward. We're not losing any sleep at this point. All right. So, everything should look, pretty normal at this juncture. But we just about have our quad SA. We don't really want a quad, though. We kind of want to play it a little safe, for lack of a better way to put it. So, when it comes to SAs, I'm going to go ahead and do the SA with Bell. Because remember, that extra action, the action he's going to do next turn, is going to give everybody wind attack damage 100%. Okay? So, not that big of a deal. Plus, it's going to give HP heal on all allies when he does that action. So, that's going to be super duper important. We want to make sure that we go ham on that. We do not want to waste time. Now, you'll notice how high our SAH charges, and we can't really do another big SA until turn 12 anyway. Otherwise, we're really missing some damage. So we need to get some damage out. So I've got a tough choice here. I can do Ryu, who will get 5 extra actions. Ultra Penetration Rate removes strength magic buffs on foes, and 50% HP heal, and status debuffs down 2 turns on all allies. It's a distinct possibility, and a lot of that was with her extra action. Or hear me out, are we going to do an SA with Eyes? Single target 30% and wind resistance down 60%. All that disappears when we do get a big hit. And honestly, I'm in debate here. But a lot of this is redundant. Let's see, remove strength and magic buffs. Now, the nice part is, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for one reason and one reason only, and I'll show you when we get down to turn 12. But, remember, that's 5 actions. 5 actions, so that's super important. So, let's go. Now, while we would get a larger hit out of Eyes, no question about it, the reality is we need to play it a little safe. We need to play it a little safe with regards to our turn 12. So here we go. All right, everything looks good. He's gonna come in. Eyes need her skill 2, so strength and magic buffs are removed. Remember, because Ryu's attack is a strength and magic buff remover on the extra action, that means that we still needed Eyes' skill 2 there to remove those. Now, those extra actions she's going to do on this turn, we'll start to remove them if they come into play. You can see where I'm going here. So, once again, we start over from scratch. Skill 1 with Bell, skill 3 with Ryu, skill 1 with Bell, skill 3 with Rei. And our goal here is to build back up to a quad, but we don't necessarily need the quad. And I'll explain when we get there. So, turn 10, once again, skill 2, skill 1, skill 2, skill 1. Looks pretty straightforward at this point, right? Okay, and we've got those extra actions giving us some healing. We've got all kinds of stuff in play that are really helping us out big time. So, we're looking for the try next turn. We need a triple on the next attack. So, because here's the deal. Finn does not have... He has the Earth attribute damage up, but he does not have the Strength and Magic buff. So if we SA now, we wouldn't remove it. We've got to SA on turn 12. But here's the deal. We've got to remove that Strength and Magic buff too. And if we did a triple with Eyes no longer removes Strength and Magic buffs there. So, that's why on this turn, I'm going to do our skill 2. So we're going to do a skill 3 with Bell on this turn, skill 2 with Eyes, skill 3 with with Ryu, and skill 2 with Rei. But here's the deal. Ryu still has 3 turns left on her additional action that removes those buffs. Now, Finn will probably buff that at the end of the turn. So, as nice as this is, it's not really affecting us yet. Yet. Emphasis on yet. That's a big, big caveat. Okay. So here we go. Now we're going to do a triple essay. Okay? Bell, Eyes, Ryu. Now you could put Eyes after Ryu, but Eyes does do the wind resist down. So I like to keep her there because that gives Ryu an opportunity to do a little bit more damage. But Eyes will still most likely out-damage her. So that is a thing. Ryu is the only one left out in the cold. Or, I'm sorry, Ray is the only one left out in the cold. But you don't never need Ray's essay. Ray's essay is a magic 90% with wind attribute damage 100%. But here's the deal. We already got wind attribute damage with Bell. Everything should still be in play. We replicated enough. So notice he's got wind attribute damage 100% for 3 turns, right? But notice that Bell has magic 150 and strength 150. Everybody gets that buff that Finn gives himself. It's really important. That part is a little scary. But mark my words, they're going to disappear. Notice that was 5 turns. That means you actually can't remove that with Eyes. So you would need somebody removing it like Ryu does here. So getting Ryu's essay off on turn 8 is ultimately just... Well, actually, the thing I just happened to realize, I can't do her essay here, can I? I cannot do Ryu's essay here. Because if I do Ryu's essay, I'm negating some damage. So actually, in hindsight, we're going to do single targets. And I'm going to wait till next turn. Because the more I happen to think about this, yes, her essay would be awesome. It would hit hard. It would be amazing. But if I do that, we're not removing... And I'm sure somebody was screaming at the screen there. If it's very late right now. If I did do that, I wouldn't be removing his strength buffs, would I? So we've got to do a base attack here. Or say base attack. We got to do our big single target attacks. Now the strength buffs will be removed. And on next turn, we can do our triple. Now, actually, notice we'll have a quad next turn. But it'll be alright. It just gives us an opportunity to spam some attacks with Eyes. Okay? That's why sometimes it's easier to just like talk this through and discuss it rather than, just going hog wild. Now, one thing I do want to mention here, notice that Ryu never really takes any damage. With Ryu, it actually might be better to put like a breastplate or something on her rather than this earth coat, because you could probably get a hair more damage out with her getting counterattacks rather than taking no damage every single time. Just a side note there. So, we're going to go ahead and do our triple essay now. And a big single target attack, the single target attack with Ray. And I hear you, what about just doing Ray's anyway? It's not even an attack. So there's really no point. So we're going to save that, and we can then spam that with Eyes or Ryu, whoever gets the biggest damage here. So, actually, in hindsight, we didn't even need to do Bells. So we actually did negate some of our own damage there, because we didn't even have to do Bell's SA again. I could have just done a double with Eyes and Ryu twice. So even like in this situation, just realizing that, because once again it is very late where I am, I've even negated some of my potential damage here. I could have just done doubles both times. So let's go ahead and do an essay with her. Single target with everybody else. So I'm going to be down a little bit of damage. Probably not an insane amount of damage. We can calculate roughly how much damage I'm down here. But a turn 13 double with Eyes and Ryu and another double with Eyes and Ryu would have been the optimal situation. So that's totally worth noting. I'm going to go ahead and go back to doing our big single target attacks. And let's see what kind of numbers we get. And we can estimate how much damage I actually negated there. Not including things I missed here with the counterattacks. But nevertheless, let's check it out. Okay. So I got a 1.4 billion. I got a bit of a higher score here. So basic attack was, what's that? 70 million. So, and that's, let's just say for the sake of argument, times 9. That's basically, yeah, pretty much. So, actually, I would have been like 145, almost 150. So let's see in my rank if that would have made any difference. My global rank is 247, so I'm well within the 500. It would take quite a few of y'all to knock me out of that. And once again, I do have I'll say the range to kind of defend my space there. So let's go down here. So 150 would actually put me in 3rd place. So there's a distinct argument for me going back through and running that again and doing the doubles with Aizen and Ryu. That actually would have been a wiser option there. So take my mistakes, fix them. If you've got better units, 100% use them. If you don't have some of these units, there are alternatives. There's plenty of units. I'm using Bell and Ryu because they're the newest units. I told you guys they were really good. Even I didn't max them or break them, but as you can see, they're like, even if with a good Earth Coat, and even like mine was +3 with 3 purple stars. If yours was +1 with 6 purple stars, it'll probably do about roughly the same. So, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Like, comment, share. If this helped you out, I'd love to know what kind of score you got. And I'll catch you guys, hopefully for some news here shortly.